Click for Biology. We're looking at eukaryotic cell structure, and in particular we're going to take a look at plant cells. Eukaryotic cells, you'll recall, are those cells which have a membrane-bound nucleus, and plant cells have their own unique structure. Let's take a look at that. So in this simple diagram of the general plant cell, you'll notice immediately that there are a number of features which are the same as animal cells. Of course, there's the nucleus, which contains the genetic material in the form of DNA. There are mitochondria present, synthesizing ATP in respiration. The cytoplasm is labeled, where many of the more detailed and specialized aspects of cell chemistry take place that we probably won't cover on this course. And of course, there are the presence here of ribosomes, which are involved in the synthesis of proteins. And in this respect, the animal and the plant cells are similar, that where the plant cell requires a great deal of ATP, there will be many mitochondria, and where the cells require lots of protein, then there will be many ribosomes. So the cells specialize in that particular way. Okay, now to the structures which are unique to the plant cell. And the first one is a structure which goes around the outside of the cell membrane. The cell membrane, another common feature with animal cells, controlling what goes into and out of the cell. Let me just label that actually. The cell membrane is just here. So this black structure going around that I've drawn, going around the outside of the cell, is the cell wall. And this is composed of a molecule called cellulose. And this is unique to plant cells, that they have a cellulose cell wall. Cellulose is actually a chain of glucose molecules joined together. We'll look at this structure later, and but with many branches in this chain structure. It's particularly permeable. It doesn't really stop dissolved substances moving through it in any sense. That's the job of the cell membrane. But the cell wall does provide support for the cell and protection to the cell. So that's the cell wall. Also present within plant cells is this membrane in the center here. And so there's this large central organelle with a membrane around the outside like so. And this is called the vacuole. The vacuole functions will include containing some of the waste products of the cell. It would also be involved in storing some of the nutrients, such as amino acids. But the vacuole will attract into it a large amount of water. And this water is responsible for creating a turgid cell. And that turgidity gives the cell shape and support. Now, the turgidity and water movement will be discussed under the videos on exchange within cells, and in particular in the process of osmosis. So we'll cover that work later. The vacuole cell membrane, which is actually called the tonoplast, has the same structure as the external cell membrane, and it controls what goes into and out of that vacuole. I've drawn in green here structures which I'm going to call chloroplasts. These are unique to plants as well. The chloroplast is an organelle. It has membranes as well. It's actually double membrane. And within the center, which is why I've drawn it in green, is a molecule called chlorophyll. And chlorophyll is a molecule which can take light energy, it can capture light energy and turn it into forms of chemical energy. And this, of course, is the process of photosynthesis. So that's obviously a topic that we'll be covering in a lot more detail later. Just like the animal cells, plant cells specialize their shape, and this is something that we've covered already. We can see that in this leaf cross section, so we've got the leaf here, and then we go A to B. The cross section is here like so. And we can see the cell types up here of the epidermis, and the palisade is here, the spongy is here, the lower epidermis here, some vascular tissue here. And we have the different tissues, so that just like in the animal cells, genes have been expressed. Those expressed genes lead to proteins. Those proteins lead to shape, and those shapes of those cells relate to their function. And so this is where we have plant specialization of their cells. And we've covered that under the video which is called Organization, which is also in this playlist, but we also cover plant structure and in processes like transpiration. Okay, let's take a few questions. Let's do those in 3 minutes. Write your answers down, work out what the answers are, and then check the answers in the description of the video, which is below. And now we'll link you through to the next video in this particular part of the topic, and also back to the playlist with a chance to subscribe. That would be appreciated.